everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division in the Christmas Links tournament. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, so let's go. First, we're going to start with hole number 1. And here I'm going to play with 3 bars of topspin and max side spin to the right with a berserker ball. Take a look at the white ring. The white ring should touching that rock. I don't know why I'm pointing, but that rock where it has a line to the left. Max curl to the right. And then we need to go max overpower and hit it as close to perfect as possible. That's going to drive ourselves over, and 3 bars of topspin is going to give us enough speed, but not too much, not too little, to end up either on the green or very close to the green. And hole number 1 is going to be a must eagle for us that are playing in Master Division. So even if you have an extra mile level 8, I would be going with the same type of approach. I would almost try to go with a turbo snow globe or something like that instead, as for getting that extra lift, because we're still having like a 5 yards difference, not much though, but 5 yard difference, a little bit more carry with the Apocalypse than we do have with the extra mile. This is the suggestion with an Apocalypse, and before I ship it in and before we go to hole number 2, check down in the video description down below for direct timestamps for this playthrough for Master Division. Also, if you do want to get updated text guides, you can get them through patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Good shot from our opponent, using a little bit like, it seems like he was using backspin. And here we do need 3 bars of topspin. I know there's players using 3.5, 4, but I've noticed when playing this one with various type of wind, 3 bar is definitely going to be the number for me here. Master Division for us, no matter what, is going to give ourselves winning score that is going to be above -30. If we get scores below -30 in the weekend round, I would be highly surprised. So I don't think that will happen for the top 3. Some brackets might not even have that for top 10. So we really need to dial this one in. Here for hole number 2, I'm using my sniper, playing this one, as you can see, with 4 bars of topspin. I'm also using some side spin. I'm using 3 bars, but I would like to go with 4 bars. 4 bars is going to be the magic number for me when I tweak this one a little bit, if you do want to play with a Kingmaker. Adjusting for max distance of our club, and we also are adjusting for 15% over adjustment. So max distance, 50% over adjustment, and this type of curl. Exactly this type of curl with the ball touching the outside of the inner ring. And we get it to bounce, and you can see here we're going to just miss this one to the right. And I want to counter that, we're going with just 1 bar of side spin to the left more. I know this is a Kingmaker, but I want in this example show you how to play good even with Kingmakers, so we're not just focusing on having a win 5 ball or something like that. But for those that are playing Master, not just for Master, but for every player in the game, got a Christmas gift from the Golf Clash and Playdemic team that gave them 3 Titans, 3 Katanas, and 9 Santa Balls. And the Santa Balls is having a lot of side spin and also wind resistance 5. And those balls could be good to use in a position like this, but I do feel that we don't need anything else than a Kingmaker, especially for hole number 2. So our opponent is getting himself also to the green, coming in hot, very hot. But even, you can see here, even if you're coming in hot, the ball is basically going to stop. And sure, kind of a long putt, but not going to be something that will be a problem for you, in my opinion. Now, hole number 3, and here we're going to have to play on the left side. And a power 4 ball is not a must, but it's highly suggested. So I'm playing with a dead ball, using max topspin with Apocalypse level 7. And I say max topspin for every type of club that you're going to have. So it doesn't matter if you have Apocalypse 6, 7, 5, 4, or X-Mile 8, Thor's Hammer 5, 6, 7. max topspin anyway. Plus 4 yard mark is the mark that I want to use as for using a power 4 ball. And then I'm going to adjust my shot for max range with a 10% over adjustment. Slight curl to the left to just counter for an eventual great shot to the right. And we're getting this one to roll, and we're getting this one to roll, and we still have some yards to work with, but this is going to be enough for us to get to the green in 2. But you decide. The reference here is, as you can see, with an Apocalypse. It's also with a power 4 ball. If you do have a power 3 ball, I would still suggest that you put yourself in the position of a 4 yard mark, but then you might have to slightly overpower your shot in the end. And you're most likely going to have to overpower with, let's say you have a club with less topspin like the Apocalypse level 6, X-Mile 8, or Apocalypse level 5 or something like that. I do count with that the Thor's Hammer level 6 and 7 is going to have the same topspin or even a little bit more, but do have 80 yards less of distance on the club. That's a pudding ball, I believe. That's a cool ball. Light shot number 2 for hole 3. And now we do have some tailwind here, and that's definitely going to help. But this is going to be a tough one. We do have to adjust before the creek is starting. I'm going to, in this example, use 6 bars of topspin. As you can see, 6.5. And in this case, 6.5 is going to be a little bit too much. Maybe we should be like, we will be safe with 6. So adjusting for max distance of my club. No elevation adjustments, so we are not adding, we are not subtracting either. Unfortunately here, I do hit my ball great to the left, and we're going to be slightly pushed back to the left here. But we're coming in nicely here with some speed, and we're rolling in towards the green and towards the pin. And as we're using so much of fairway, the ball is going to slow itself down. We'll get it to the green, fall back down towards the pin, no problem to make an eagle. I'm not saying this should be an albatross hole. It should be a safe eagle hole. With a little bit luck of the roll, we can of course drop an albatross, but not something that I would say that we should be counting on. But I like this hole. It requires a good drive. The second shot, we do need to bounce in between the bunkers. If you're off with your numbers, then it's into the sand or into the water. Also here, our opponent's using a sniper. Please don't forget to change club. Use the big dog or the cataclysm, depending on the level you have your cataclysm in. If you have it in level 4+, you use cataclysm. If you have it in level 3 below, you use the big dog. This is kind of the worst case scenario here. Overpower a sniper, cutting the rough, rolling, and gets out to the fairway. So not worst case scenario, but at least the fact that having to overpower the second shot is going to put so much more risk into play. Putt it in, we take the eagle, and be happy with the eagle. So we're going to go to hole number 4, and here I would suggest that you use one of the Santa balls that you did get if you do still have them left. I am going to show you an approach where we're going to play with our wood club with in max range. I'm going to use the side spin 2.5 bar with, in this case, 6 bars of backspin. That is going to be the maximum amount on the sniper as well. But the reason I'm using the cataclysm instead of the sniper is because of the distance. We do get an extra 10 yards or like 8 yards when it comes to here the cataclysm instead of the sniper. Slight curl to the right. We are just max distance with 10% extra. We're coming in kind of nicely here, a little bit too much to the right. So if we take away a little bit of curl, then we're going to be good with that. If you do have, like, let's say you don't have any special balls, you have a kingmaker, then you're going to still play it with your wood club. But then you need to go with 1 bar more backspin if that allows you. I would suggest that you do play with the Guardian if you're going to play with a Kingmaker, so you can use the backspin on the Guardian. There is also one other approach where I've seen other players play with, which is using a rocket. I'm not going to go into detail with that one, but of course, it plays with the fact that we need to bounce over the water using the back of the green to fall down. Still, two very tough approaches, nonetheless. So this is not some hole that I do feel is going to be a consequent hole for eagle. Sorry, for unholy one, and it's going to be a safe birdie that we're looking for. So hole number 5, and now I'm actually going to play myself with a more aggressive approach. Our opponent is going to play right, if I'm not mistaken, and the thing is here that I do believe that the opportunity of dropping an albatross on this one is not high, but it's there at least. And the only thing that we do need to do, as I do here, I stretch out my club using a power 4 ball, max side spin, and in this case I'm using 1 bar of a backspin. And now I'm going with some slight overpower here as well, and that is a must. You do need to go with some overpower. Around 30% of overpower is important to play with, even with a power 4 ball. If you do not possess any power 4 balls, or you maybe do not have a driver, like let's say you play with an XMI level 7, or you play with a Thor's Hammer that do have like 234, 332, then you need to play as our opponent is doing. You need to play right side, because you're not going to, it's going to be too tough. When we come over to the 50% mark of going with overpower, then we are gambling a little bit, as we do know that hitting that perfect mark with a lot of overpower is not going to be easy. But I want to show you the approach to the left, so you can study it, you can implement it, and decide yourself if you want to go left or if you want to go right. I'm going to keep playing left, because now it gives me a very good opportunity to go for the pin. Open shot, we have a 12.1 in a slight tailwind here, and we are in max range of our club. The thing that I do want to do here is I don't want to go with 1.5 bar backspin, really. I do want to go with 1 bar. That's going to be enough. And I think using the same type of backspin approach would be good. We're aiming slightly because 2 rings from the fringe approximately. And here I'm adjusting for max numbers with no elevation adjustment. Even though it looks uphill, I'm adjusting normal numbers with no adding, no subtracting. You can see here now, we're coming in nicely towards the pin here, but coming in slightly to the right here. So I do want to go with 1 bar backspin, move my target down a little bit there, and make sure that even if I do have some more crosswind, that I'm going to go good at the pin. But you can see there, getting that to zoom in, definitely going to give ourselves it's going to give ourselves an opportunity for an albatross, which sure, we can drop it from the right as well. I'm not going to take that away from us, but in the end it's way less opportunity in my opinion to go on the right. Then it's more a little bit luck of the bounce if you're going to get that ball in the hole or not. So our opponent with a sniper as well, wrong club. You need to play with like a big dog or a cataclysm that gives you the distance that you need. Getting it up there though, and be happy. If you play right side, I would be very happy to just to make an eagle. Hey, hole hole number 6. And hole number 6, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to go full blast overpower. Full blast overpower. That's going to be important, as we do want to try to go for the green in 1. It's going to be a very tough shot, and in some cases we are going to see ourselves being in the rough or being in the sand. But I would rather take that then trying a hook shot or something like that, and risk, depending on the angle that we do get on the wind, to risk getting that one way off. So I'm going to take a snow globe ball here, and the snow globe ball gives me wind resistance 0 but with a power 5. And the mistake I do here is that I'm not going max topspin here. I'm going as much side spin to right as possible. Look at my white ring. I do want my white ring to just touch the boat when it's stretched out to the right. And now I'm using a little bit more as I'm having 18, which I shouldn't. And you can see here on the curl, I do want the ball to just be outside to the right, which I'm not. I'm even a little bit more. And this one is going to come to the right. And we're going to bounce second shot, and then we're going to roll into the rough. And it's very close that we roll out. But first, there's like 3 things here. Max topspin, go with that. A landing position, okay. When it comes to the curl, go with the ball just outside to the right of the curl there. We rather want to miss left and be on the fairway, but very close to the green, than we do want to be in the rough or into the sand. It's in the end going to be a very tough shot, and you need to make sure here that you are not going to miss your drive completely, and you make sure that you're using the references that I'm working with, otherwise you could be putting yourself into the water. And when I'm saying max topspin here, I say max topspin with whatever club you have. And that is Thor's Hammer, that is Extra Mile, that is Apocalypse. And you could be in the with the fact that you could be short with the wrong set of bounds when it comes to using a club like the Extra Mile level 8 or an Apocalypse level 6 even. Now from the rough, and this one is painful as it's so short. I hit it perfect and I'm still missing this one. And I do believe that the ball guideline here is not consequent. And I think I need to choose a different type of position, as I for some reason do miss it a lot to the right. And even if I just touch the landing position, the ball guideline is going to move a lot. So it fools you there a little bit. But in the end, I thought it was in. But better chance like this from the rough we don't get. And unfortunately missed this one to the left of the pin, and not getting the eagle. But I would say hole number 6 must be an eagle here as well, ladies and gentlemen. Hole number, why do I with the ladies and gentlemen? I'm polite at least. Now I'm going to play with my wood club. I'm going to show you the play here that we are having with the Cataclysm level 7. But you can play this one with whatever wood club you might have. The thing is here that the headwind do take away the fact the option of going more straight at the pin. I'm adjusting max numbers with 10% extra on this shot. You can see I'm using a tiny bit of curl to the right, max side spin with my wind 5 ball, and 2 bars of backspin. You can see we're coming in here, but we're bouncing very close to the rough, and we're still not even near the pin. So the thing here that we do need to find here is that I would most likely want to use a landing position a little bit more out to the left, so we do have some more green to work with. Or we have to play it on that tiny island to the right, and that is going to be dangerous in itself. The problem is, like, when we have so much that we do need to bounce over the rough and the sand, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough, and I would say this is most likely the toughest hole in the tournament. Our opponent playing as well with a win 4 ball, and of course it might not be so that you do have a win 5 ball to play with. I like to play with a win 5 ball when it gives me an edge, and it does give me an edge here as this shot makes it much easier. But in my opinion here, this is a shot, take it to green, be happy with the birdie, and focus on hole number 8, because this is a must. And this is a very interesting hole, and I would say I'm going to show you an approach here for those of you that do have a Thor's Hammer level 6 or 7. And that is going to be a fun approach that is fairly consequent. And I've been playing this approach now a couple of times, and I've been getting the same type of result every single time as well. If you do not have a club like that, you need to play it like our opponent is going to try to do. Try to bounce on the fairway on the right, using some curl, which is important. If you do miss to the right there, that's water, then it's bye-bye. Here comes in too long, and you can see here as well, comes in with too much topspin, roll over. And that is going to be an adjustment that needs some practice. You can see a tiny bit of overpower, but you need to take away the topspin, really. You need to go with as much like 3 or 4 bars of topspin maximum. Here with the Thor's Hammer of 7, we're gonna go with the red ring just by the rough on the right in max range of our club. Max topspin. Don't look at the ball guy line, because that is just going to make you scared, because it makes me scared. I'm adjusting max and numbers with 10% over adjustment, which is in this case going to give us 11.9 rings. And now I'm using around 75% of the ball outside to the right of the adjustment ring. Now we kind of need to hit this ball perfect, and we do get the first bounce, second bounce just before the bunker there, and we roll the last piece here, coming in very, very nicely on the green. So Thor's Hammer 6, Thor's Hammer 7, almost stretch it to Thor's Hammer 5 as well. But in the end, that is going to be a potential risk of the second bounce bouncing into the sand if you do get a crappy first bounce with a Thor's Hammer level 5. So it's an interesting hole, and that is the way that I'm going to play it with my accounts, as it gives definitely an easy way towards the green, and we don't have to overpower. And again, if you do not have the club like that, you need to try to play it as our opponent is doing. So now we only have one more hole to go, and that hole is going to be hole number 1. Oh my god, my nose. Hole number 1 is going to be 9. It's going to be it's going to be very, very, very important to get an eagle on. And here we are going to start, and we're going to play right side in this example. A power 4 ball is preferred, very much preferred, I would say. The thing is here that when you play with a kingmaker, you do need to be very close to the rough on the left to even give yourself a chance to get over for the second shot, because it doesn't really matter if you play left or play right. It's going to be either a very tough drive that you do get from the left, where you have to go max overpower, or you're going to have an easier drive on the right, but the second shot is going to be hard. And I haven't decided which one I'm going to play with yet. This is the way that I played in the qualifying round, and it worked. It was tough, but it worked. So, power 4 ball. And then we do need to use the max topspin that we're having on our club. And of course, topspin on Apocalypse level 7 is an advantage in a situation like this. I'm going to aim up, so I'm having like room for a great shot to the left, but also using 2 to 3 bars of side spin to the right to just counter for the push that we're going to get. Now I'm in max range of my club, which is going to of course show that I do need to use a little bit of overpower. I'm using around 50% of overpower here. Make sure that I'm not hitting this ball good to the left. So I'm having, I hit it great to the right here. Get a good bounce and get a good roll. And we still have some room that we can reach further. We still have some room that we can reach more to the left. And of course, the ultimate situation would be to just be by the rough on the left. Otherwise, this will work, especially if you have a power 4 ball. If you do play with a power 5 ball, it's almost that I would suggest you to play with a power 5 ball. Not a berserker though, Um, because the wind in your face is going to make the drive a little bit tougher. But like a gear ball, or what is that one called? An autumn ball. I don't know if that is called, but like it's with a leaf on it and orange. So, but at least a gear ball with the stats of a 5 power, 2 wind resistance, and 1 in side spin. So, second shot here, you can see here now how tough this is going to be. And the tough part with it is that we do have to go with max overpower. We can reach, no problem, but if we do miss it a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, it could be a possible danger to get the ball in, to bounce first in the rough, and then the second shot is not going to be easy. So I'm going max overpower, adjusting my rings here from like an aerial view, really, and then it's time to take our shot. Max overpower necessary. I'm going with 1.5 ball outside to the left as well, and it bounced very nicely here, coming in kind of close to an albatross, but that is not something that I'm expecting from that side. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this playthrough for Master Division in the Christmas Links tournament. If you do want to watch the other playthroughs, that is, then you can check down in the video description. You can find the links to all of them there. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, so good luck in the Christmas Links tournament.